If you live in a country where you can publicly speak your mind on political, social and other controversial issues, criticize the government, poke fun of national leaders or the monarchy, promote unpopular ideas and participate in protests, you can largely thank the Bible for the freedom to do so. Of the nations that consistently rank in the top 20 to 30 for freedom of speech, as listed by organizations such as the Human Freedom Index and Freedom House reports, every single one has a strong Christian heritage. On the other hand, of the nations that consistently rank at the bottom of such lists, the very vast majority are either Islamic states or officially communist and atheistic. This is no coincidence. Christian thinkers, philosophers and political leaders played a decisive role in introducing human rights such as freedom of speech into modern legal systems, rights which many of us enjoy today. For the majority of human history, tribes, nations and civilizations were not democratically ruled. Ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Medo-Persians, Greeks, Romans, Chinese, Aztecs and Incas were all like that. Criticizing the rulers or promoting unapproved ideas was subject to censorship and was often a jailable or capital offense. In the Bible, Elijah, Jeremiah, Daniel, John the Baptist, Jesus, the Apostle Paul, John the Beloved and many others either lost their lives, were imprisoned or suffered other severe consequences simply for what they said or wrote. Within Christianity even, it was common for the popes of the Catholic Church to censor and persecute dissenters, or even have them killed. Things began to change in the 16th century, where German reformer Martin Luther played a pivotal role in the relatively modern movement advocating for freedom of speech and belief. Luther challenged the absolute authority of the Catholic Church, and the Protestant Reformation was born, leading to more religious and personal freedom. Yet still, many of the Protestant monarchs of Europe ruled dictatorially. Nevertheless, Luther's work set the stage for incremental progress and later movements that championed freedom of speech and human rights throughout Europe and beyond. 17th and 18th century thinkers and philosophers of the Enlightenment period advanced these ideas even further. Many of them, such as John Locke, Isaac Newton, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, were either Christians or were heavily influenced by the Bible and contributed to the ideas of natural law and social contract, which laid the foundation for many modern human rights principles. Unlike earlier civilizations, many Enlightenment thinkers believed that human rights were endowed to us by God, rather than by any human or society. Their efforts helped pave the way for many groundbreaking legal principles and documents, such as the United States Constitution and its various amendments, and the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that either guaranteed freedom of speech or laid the foundation for other legal systems that did. Enlightenment and other Christians who fought for freedom of speech and conscience based their ideas of human rights on biblical principles. While the Bible doesn't specifically define freedom of speech as we understand it, its emphasis on speaking truth and tolerating offensive speech has significantly influenced the development of this concept in Western thought. The Bible teaches us that humans are creations of God and belong to Him. Therefore, the rights of humans originate from Him and are not random products of nature and not subject to the whims or opinions of man. God allows people all over the world to offend Him every day. He allows blasphemy. He allows criticism and lies about Him. He allows all manner of detestable speech by humanity, and still continues to bless those who offend Him with life and provision of basic needs. As Matthew 5:45 says, He maketh His sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. In the Bible, we see that those who opposed Christ and his message also had the right to speak their minds. Jesus himself, though he is king of the universe, allowed his enemies to lie about him, to mock him, humiliate, and eventually kill him. And in the face of it, he didn't retaliate or strike them dead. Unlike many earthly rulers and governments, God prefers that we voluntarily accept his rule over us. He allows people to question and even rebel and speak against him, until hopefully one day they choose to yield to him willingly. If the ruler of heaven and earth tolerates speech he doesn't like and blesses even those who speak evil, then it stands to reason that governments have even less right to censor speech they don't like. The Bible commands us to speak honestly and truthfully to power. Christ's followers are instructed to follow in his footsteps, to be God's mouthpieces even if his message is unpopular or unwelcome. And if we are commanded to speak such things, it must be a God-given right to do so. These biblical concepts, not found in any other religion or philosophy, inspired many modern thinkers to champion the cause of freedom of speech. It's not surprising that as Christianity has lost much of its influence in the West, so have the forces that are attempting to limit or censor speech grown. Having abandoned God and his view of individual human worth, dignity and rights, many modern politicians and elites view certain people and their views as inferior and therefore not worthy of the right to share them publicly. The importance of defending freedom of speech was well articulated by author Evelyn Beatrice Hall when summarizing Voltaire's view of freedom of speech. She wrote, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." Freedom of speech is a cherished, God-given right of all humanity that we should be grateful for and should fight to protect for all people, even those we disagree with. Let us pray and act in its defense. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. See you next time. Bye.